What's going on, people? How you doing? TK coming at you. Just want to hit you with some financial sense, financial literacy that I hope makes sense. What about a world where you took financial responsibility for your future? You acquired some financial insurance like gold, silver, and Bitcoin. Well, why would I want gold? Why would I want silver? Or Bitcoin, for that matter? Think about it. Use an example like Venezuela, where the paper money doesn't buy very much. The bolivar goes very little when you try to purchase something, right? Because we're in a pay-to-live world where debt slavery makes you struggle for money just to be able to acquire anything you want. So if you have gold, silver, and Bitcoin, you're able to still eat when most people in Venezuela are eating out of trash cans. So you're setting yourself up for a better future because gold, silver, and Bitcoin goes up in value on a per annum basis, whereas paper devalues consistently on a per annum basis. So I ask you, which one makes more sense? Something depreciating or something that actually accumulates value the longer you hold it? Some people say, well, what difference does it make? Why should I care? Or why do you care? And the truth is that we're all connected. You know, the divide and conquer mentality within the Western world, where we stay fighting against our neighbors, is what keeps us conquered. You focus on division and you're never able to progress. But what if you converted your money from paper format to gold, silver, and Bitcoin so that you still have $10,000, but now you have $10,000 in a different format? Which one makes more sense? 1% at Bank of America, or gaining 1% possibly every day within the other forms of currency? So the only thing I'm suggesting to you is that you take whatever money you can afford to convert and you convert it. I try to aggressively convert $500 every payday into Bitcoin because I know that it's a smarter purchasing power. It's a stronger medium that actually holds its value. So everybody's like, oh, Bitcoin, the sky is falling, you know, because it's in a supply and demand market where when people get scared, they sell. And because the price is reflective of buying and selling, the price goes down when people actually start selling. So everybody's like, the world is gonna crash because Bitcoin is falling. But realistically, you're supposed to buy the dips, not sell. So it's counterintuitive to sit back and say, oh, because the price is falling. No, it's a cycle. And when people get scared, that's your opportunity. There's always opportunity in chaos, but only for those who are positioned. So the question you have to ask yourself is it worth positioning yourself in currency outside of paper? Because there are other formats, other more high profitable formats of currency than just paper. So the conditioning that most people have, they only look at money as paper. So you are a slave to your job, you're a slave to somebody else's power because you yield your power to a promissory note that doesn't have much value, much less much power. You know, the dollar's technically backed by faith and confidence of the people who are willing to exchange it. So in countries like Zimbabwe, Venezuela, Cyprus, where the confidence and faith in the local currency failed, and then you find yourself in austerity measures like only being relegated to $60 out of the ATM machine, not finding any ATM machines that are open that actually have cash, not finding any banks that are open in terms of being able to withdraw whatever cash that you have in your account. Subject to bail-ins, where if the bank gets in trouble, the first thing they do is confiscate public accounts to cover their shortages. So the entire fractional reserve banking system is a Ponzi scheme that creates money out of thin air and essentially takes the funds from the poor and siphons it up to the rich. Think about it. When you take out a $5,000 loan, or when you utilize a $5,000 CD, the bank loans it to someone else. So your $5,000 is leveraged by the bank, a central authority, and you get nothing. So you have to make decisions. You have to make choices. All the decisions and choices you make today is what creates tomorrow. So ask yourself, what type of future do you want to live in, and what type of choices do you want to make to change your future? And if you feel like having your hand out for government welfare is the best thing to do, then keep sitting on the couch watching TV. But what I suggest is that people take their own responsibility in future and create a different outcome by making some different choices. Now, if you don't make very much money and you have a lot of bills left over at the end of your check, you're already a slave to the system. So the first thing you have to do is say, okay, you know what? I'm going to pay myself first. I'm going to take this $100 and convert it into Bitcoin, gold, or silver, and I'm going to forget about it. Everybody used to ask me when I taught a class on gold, well, what do I do with the gold when I get it? And I always just tell people, like, look, save it for a rainy day. When it starts raining, pull out your umbrella, and that's when you use it. So this is a suggestion that I hope some people take to heart. It seems like there's no way to break the master psychological programming of the matrix, where people are closed-minded to alternate forms of currency. They're not willing to buy some sort of financial insurance. And if it's not football or, you know, primetime television, they're not interested in even listening to what I have to say. So for those people, I guess there's no helping them, because they're going to fall victim to what's written on the Georgia Guidestones. You know, a third of the population is supposed to die. Now, you say, well, that's just bullshit. I don't know what the Georgia Guidestones is about. But the fact is that as money supply, or I should say money value, begins to constrain, and the vice grips comes on in terms of the purchasing power of the dollar, you're going to find yourself limited. That's why I call it slavery. It's usury with an illusion, because money supply is multiplied through continuous loans with interest, when both the loan and the interest is being poofed, magically created out of thin air. So if you don't make these type of decisions that I'm suggesting, you find yourself in a situation where the economy has changed around you, and you wake up and say, well, all I know is my little $5 doesn't buy a loaf of bread. All I know is my purchasing power has diminished because I don't seem to have enough money to pay for the things that I want to buy. So if you switch to a higher form of currency like gold, silver, and Bitcoin, at least you have a fighting chance in this pay-to-live world. So I'm going to leave you guys with that, food for thought, and hopefully somebody decides to participate in the new economy. The new economy is definitely going to be a shift, a paradigm shift, where what's old dies and something else rises from the ashes. Some people say, well, what comes out of the ashes will not be Bitcoin. And it doesn't matter. Because if you have gold, silver, and Bitcoin, it's still considered a form of currency that you can use. So you can dip into your reserves and still be able to play this economic game. And that's the only thing I suggest. But hey, take it as you will. You know, I make these videos and hope that I reach one person. If you're not that one, then you know how to scroll past, or you know how to delete me as a friend. You know how to move on with your television life. But because we're all connected and we essentially all affect each other, I hope that this video affects someone in terms of your decision-making process towards sound money. Bitcoin, gold, and silver is sound money because it requires sound accounting. And all you have to do is position yourself within that accounting system so that some of your assets are within that realm. You know what I mean? Convert some of your paper to these other assets. Use them as a financial insurance, a backup, so that, you know, your savings in these alternate forms of currency can save you or help you or assist you one day. Hopefully that makes sense.